masks are better than others for sure.
Right.
But I feel like I have a lot on my head. I got a hat, I got glasses, I got a mask, I got headphones.
So you guys are...
Not that I'm complaining, just observing.
I'm getting all the notifications that Matt Green
All right.
Real Estate is live
There we go.
with Trellis For Tomorrow.
All right. Let's see how we look.
And we've got some people tuning in.
All right, you got all of us. All right. Great. I look like the Invisible Man. Like my face is all like wrapped up like a mummy.
On a day like today, it's keeping you warm.
It is keeping me warm. It's chilly out here. Matt and I are trying to figure out what we're going to do in the winter months.
Oh.
So.
How was it in the summer on like a 95-degree day?
Gosh. Yes,
oh,
we
really?
had that issue, and when we switched to the afternoons, we were on Kevin's front porch, and with that late afternoon sun, so it was a little warm,
Intense.
and we had several very cold days in March.
Yeah.
People can't see Matt right now, but the orange hat has made a comeback. Get your dome piece on camera, Matt.
You ready for hunting season, right, Matt?
Getting ready for game night. All right. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We are here on the front porch of Art and Judy Green because it is inclement, and my side porch is a little bit narrow. And we have two special guests today, so we wanted to make sure that we had enough room. Is that me? We wanted to make sure we had enough room for everybody.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning in. Matt is behind the controls today with his orange hat. And we are here with Hannah Davis from Trellis For Tomorrow and
Hello.
Julia Smith.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So we've been talking about Trellis For Tomorrow for a couple of weeks now since you started your Season of Solidarity fundraiser event.
Yeah.
And since we started talking about the amazing raise. So let's tell folks what is Trellis For Tomorrow? Give us your elevator speech and tell us what you do and what your mission is.
Our mission is to foster resilience and compassion in individuals and inspire them to build sustainable communities. We do that by delivering experiential programs in organic gardening, environmental education, and food security that provide practical and behavioral life skills for youth and adults. We were founded or incorporated as a 501c3 in 2009, and we've gone through some different transitions in terms of a name change and adhering to our core values throughout that whole time. But a lot of our programming with young people has been using parks, preserves, and gardens as living classrooms to teach life and work skills. Back in about 2005, we had a program that was called Food for Thought. It was based out in the Kimberton area, and we partnered with a lot of the biodynamic farms in that area, and we were transporting kids from communities like Pottstown and Pottsgrove, Phoenixville, Spring City area out to the Kimberton area, and they were learning about organic farming. They were doing a lot of community building amongst themselves and out in their and then surrounding communities. And as we sort of thought about who we were as an organization and our focus on community, we started to see that it wasn't really sensible for us to keep transporting kids outside of their communities when this organic farming could be something that they could use within their own neighborhoods and address different food insecurity issues.
So you want to teach them how to
communities.
do what they're doing right in their own community.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Pottstown was actually the first community that we started our Youth Seed Enterprise program, and Julia Smith, that is sitting behind me, she is one of the young people who has been in that program. This is her second year.
Okay.
So she was with us last year when we were not in the COVID-19 situation, and then again this year when it was very much different and we were adjusting to life during a pandemic.
Well, I followed your. Go ahead.
What's the seed? What was the term you said? There was an acronym. You said.
Youth Seed Enterprise is the program adaptation of Food for Thought that is more community-based. So the program that we were running in Pottstown is called Youth Seed Enterprise, and Julie and I will probably start to call it YSE because we're so used to saying that acronym.
Okay, so it's Youth Seed.
Seed.
All right.
Enterprise.
Yep,
I heard
seed.
Youth Seed.
Right.
Even
with the headphones.
Seed.
Yeah.
SEED.
Right. So you work to bring the programs into the community where the kids live,
Correct.
so that they could do the gardening and bring those programs right here.
Right.
Right. So what does that look like? Where do you have your gardens and your activities?
So in 2017 was the pilot year of Youth Seed Enterprise in Pottstown, and we were grateful to work with Hobart's Run and Twyla.
Mm-hmm.
She was really helpful. She's had an agricultural past growing up, and so she was a huge advocate for what we were doing. And there was actually a vacant, well, not a vacant property, but underutilized garden on the Hill School property on the 700 block of Walnut.
Right.
And so she advocated for us using that program and then allowed us to use the Hobart's Run office as indoor classroom and an instructional space.
Right.
So for the last 4 years, we've been using that garden space and then indoor space at Hobart's Run.
So is that garden in the 700 block of Walnut Street? What do you do there, and where does that food go?
Julie, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I would do that. So for the garden that we have in Walnut Street.
So a little bit closer to your mic. Yeah.
So the Walnut Street garden that we have, we go into groups, different groups.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're ready to harvest, different people harvest from different beds and plant beds, and we put them on like tarp that we put on the ground, and we put them in different sections, and everyone grabs a bag and a line, and we pick different types of vegetables in different sections, and once we're ready, 2 people write down cards for the people that need the vegetables and who signed up for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put them in different bags, and we deliver them by putting some in wagons, because we had like 2, and the rest of them take their bags in hand, and we just walk around the streets, and we put them right to their door.
Right. So how do people sign up to be the recipient of some of these vegetables and these crops?
I mean, some of them last year wanted to do it again, and so I'm not sure how they had that system.
Right. So how did they sign up? Hannah, can you answer that?
Yeah,
for
you
us?
can answer that.
So in a non-pandemic world,
Right. Pre-COVID.
we would work with the young people in the program to sort of start to think of entrepreneurship as a possibility, but with a slant towards triple bottom line, which is not focusing just on profits, but also caring about people and the planet. So that particular business model became something that was deeply embedded in what we were teaching the young people. So as they were growing things in a sustainable way and thus taking care of the environment, they were also learning about food insecurity issues within their community.
Right.
The fact that Pottstown is, certain areas of it are considered a food desert.
Sure.
And there's a lot of issues with food access and healthy to fresh,
Right.
fresh options.
Right.
And so, and sort of learning about these various things, we're also introducing this idea of how can entrepreneurship, or just the idea of having a really innovative idea, address a problem and act as a solution.
Right. So not just making money. You want to be profitable, obviously.
Right.
But also to be environmentally sound.
Right.
And to address food insecurity. We like to call that a win-win-win.
Right.
Right?
A triple bottom
win.
win.
I love the triple win here on Porchcast.
So, but people, anybody can sign up for the crop show.
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So we
You don't have to
work.
be low income to sign up for the
No, anyone can participate. So we, the young people talk about the different resources that will go into sort of creating a subscription model, or what people are maybe more commonly hear as of a CSA, or community supported agriculture model.
Yep.
And so we would typically visit a CSA out in Kimberton area and talk with some of the managers there, and we would introduce that idea and concept, and then the young people would work together to identify the resources that we would need, the resources that we have, and then how we're going to market it. So a big portion of sort of the first week or two of the program is focusing on the development of that enterprise and how that food is going to be distributed. So that's anything from an elevator pitch to making some marketing material.
Right.
The one last year, Mayor Henrik came in and she talked about canvassing and sort of applied political canvassing to canvassing the neighborhood to have someone sign up for a subscription program.
Right.
Last year we actually went out door to door and knocked on neighbors' doors, gave them the elevator pitch, and asked them if they wanted to sign up.
Right. So did you participate in that, Julia?
Yes,
Going
I
door
have,
to door?
yeah.
How was that? Was it nervous? Were you nervous at first?
I was nervous at first, yes.
Yeah.
But after a few doors and going with groups of people, it was a lot more easier to do the elevator pitch.
That's
yes.
such a great experience because I think young people now are very, they're used to texting or emailing,
Yeah.
and they're not so great at making phone calls or,
Right.
or dealing face to face, especially with adults.
Yes.
So I think the more often that our young people can have those kinds of interactions, whether they're on
Yeah.
the phone or face to face, is really valuable.
Yes.
Because we've just generally as a society gotten away from being able to have conversations.
I put up a slideshow.
Yeah,
So
sure.
if people are looking at the screen, they're going to see the slideshow, and they'll see a couple of things that she described when she was talking.
Yeah, so I like how you're not just going out and doing the work in the farm or in the gardens. You're actually putting together a business model and,
Right,
and
right.
making it sustainable and making it be hopefully profitable.
Right.
Yes.
So then the premise is, and will be included in the elevator pitch, is because we're also trying to address this issue of food justice, we offer a pay-as-you-will model. So there's no pressure to make a donation or to pay for the share, but if you can, we encourage it.
Right.
So in years past, we've averaged about 20 to 25 households that we have been delivering to on a weekly basis. So like as Julia was saying, we would harvest, we would pack, and then we would go out and physically deliver to people's doorsteps. The shares that we're delivering on a weekly basis are averaging anywhere from like 25 pounds of produce and up.
Wow.
So it's a substantial bag. It's not like just a couple vegetables thrown in a bag.
Right. And for
You can feed half your block
Yeah.
with 25 pounds of vegetables.
yes. So what kinds of things are obviously it changes throughout the course of the season. Spring crops are going to be different than fall, but what kinds of things would you harvest in the early part of the season and then later, Juliet?
Well, do you mean like growing crops earlier, like in the spring?
What
or?
kinds of things would if I was to participate in the CSA, what kinds of things could I expect in my 25 pounds?
You would expect potatoes, zucchini, eggplants, tomatoes, green beans. We had a lot of them.
Julia loved picking string beans.
Everybody
Tedious.
had a lot of peppers this year. Did you do peppers?
Yes.
Oh yes, we had a lot of peppers also.
Yeah. My mom grew string beans growing up. I have a great recipe for a string bean salad if anybody needs it. It's one of her
All right.
favorites. So did you do early in the season like lettuces?
Oh yes,
Okay.
we did cabbage, correct?
Yep.
Yes, and
Collard greens.
Collard greens.
Your dad's
yeah.
favorite.
Yes.
And
Legitimately his favorite, or he doesn't?
Oh yeah, no, he loves them.
Oh, he loves them. Yes.
I recently have started to eat cabbage, which I like a lot. But that's a later in the season crop, right? Isn't that a
Spring
fall?
and fall.
Spring and fall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to harvest?
Green beans for sure, and probably the eggplants. And sometimes the zucchini, even though it like pricks you,
Right.
because I get to do that a lot.
So, do you cook?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So, would you be responsible for cooking a lot of the food that you brought home?
Well, I help with my dad a lot on when we make dinner. And breakfast also. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Is food preparation part of the program at all, Hannah? Is that something that is
It
taught
has
to the
been
kids?
in the past. This year it was a little bit difficult, but Julia can tell you
Sure.
we did have a couple of outdoor cooking adventures using camp stoves, and we decided that the last week we were going to do a farm to table cook-off. So everyone was given the same ingredients,
Oh, it's
and
like
then
a
they could
chopped-
take whatever they
right?
wanted from the garden.
Excellent?
And then create a meal. So everyone had the same resources and then could be creative and design what they wanted. So maybe Julia can talk a little bit more about
That must
that.
have been challenging, huh?
Oh yeah, it's been challenging. Yeah. That one was actually really fun though.
Right. What did you cook?
Well, I made spaghetti with sauce, and we made, I think, potatoes too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
Right.
you
Yeah.
Made like fried potatoes.
Yeah. We cooked that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, at what point in the season can somebody sign up to be a recipient of the CSA?
Well,
Well, I'm asking for a friend,
okay.
myself. How do I get in on that?
Typically, the CSA starts up in about mid to late June.
Okay.
We do a summer plant or a spring planting. This year we did not do one at Hobart's Run, and that was just because of some of our other program that we do. We were a little bit tied up because we were lacking a lot of the people that we depend on because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, well, and you had to kind of refigure everything.
Yeah, and then we this year we added additional USEED Enterprise gardens and cohorts. So we have the Pottstown group at the 700 block of Walnut. We have another group that has been in existence for 2 years now out in Park Springs and Park Springs community in Spring City. And then this spring we added a cohort in a garden at the Rolling Hills community
Right, so
in
that was, I think,
Pottsgrove.
one of the pictures that Matt put up in the slideshow. That looked like a really big garden.
Oh, it's like about 32 beds, and they're about, I don't know, at least 16 by
Wow.
3.
Yep. Wow.
So that's
So-
a very large garden. It
So
used
how
to-
do you go about acquiring the land to farm it? Like, how did that come about?
Well, the relationships and Park Springs and Rolling Hills were actually we had a long-standing relationship with the social service coordinator Ed Rodriguez at Park Springs for many, many years, and he had been a huge advocate for our Food for Thought program back in the early days, and so he had worked with us to start a garden over at Park Springs. I would say probably about 7 years ago.
Got it.
And there was a couple of young people who had been in our Food for Thought program who sort of tended to that, and they had a relationship with Kimberton Whole Foods, and they were selling kale and other greens to Kimberton Whole Foods for a while. And then we decided that once the Youth Seed Enterprise program was so successful in Pottstown that it made sense to try to do a replication of that in Park Springs. And then Park Springs and Rolling Hills are managed by the same company, Better Tomorrows.
Got it. So that was kind of a natural progression because you already had that relationship built with the manager.
Right. And so Ed, the social service coordinator at Park Springs, put us in touch with the social service coordinator at Rolling Hills, and we got the ball rolling. There was a large space there that was fenced in that at one time had served as the community's pool, but has for many years been filled in and just an unusable space.
Right.
So it was the perfect spot for a garden. So in this past spring, we brought in all new organic soil. We did mounded beds there, and that garden is highly productive. So we did a spring planting there in March, and we were harvesting stuff out of there in April and May.
Wow.
The young people were not a huge part of that because we were just trying to figure out the whole COVID situation. And so at that point, we had begun doing a leadership cohort for Youth Seed Enterprise teenagers who had been in the program previously. So there was a crew of young people from Pottstown and from Park Springs who had started off one Saturday. We had met, and then COVID hit, and so we were all sort of forced to regroup, and we eventually moved that to a virtual platform, and we're able to sort of move in that direction in some ways, but it also became a mechanism for just young people who were, all of us were so socially isolated at that point. It just became really a platform for us to share what we were going through and socialize and really just connect as we were stuck at home.
Right.
Do you have help from commercial farmers or from local farmers? What's your professional level of support for the gardening and the farming?
All right, so the question for anybody that might not have been able to hear Matt was, do you have professional help from professional gardeners or professional farmers to give some guidance and assistance?
Yeah, so Trellis For Tomorrow, we actually have 7 team members on our team, and we are lucky to have 2 people in particular who are experts in organic and biodynamic farming. We have Farmer Dave, he leads our Food for All program, which is a gardening program as well. But he provides a lot of the agricultural expertise, from growing all of the seedlings to instructing us all how to do that, troubleshooting along the way. And then we have a young man, Hayden, who actually has worked in the agricultural and organic areas for a long time, and he partners a lot with David in our Food for All program, but also provides a lot of support for the Youth Seed Enterprise as well.
So are all of your gardens considered organic?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So
we're uncompromising on that.
So that means organic. I know there's a special certification to be certified organic.
We're not certified
organic. That's a really long process
No.
through the USDA, right?
No, but
you don't use pesticides or any. So how do you keep the critters off the plants?
Well,
sometimes you don't, right?
We've lost some things. We had a fairly successful season with the collard greens until the harlequin bugs became so much of a problem that we ended up having to pull them out. Julia can attest that she had to hand-pick beetles and bugs and larvae off of string beans and collards
for the whole thing, not just
throw them in soapy water. I mean, there is organic sprays and things like that you can use. There's also sort of biological things that you can use in terms of pests that eat other bugs that eat pests.
Right, like friendly bugs.
Right, beneficials.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm going to jog your memories.
Okay.
I want to hear about Vegan Vinny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I saw there
Gangster
was
vegan.
some
Yes.
comments going here.
So, I mean, one of the really cool aspects of Youth Seed Enterprise is that we also want to introduce young people to different careers in the food enterprise arena, and then also really connect them with people in their communities. It becomes we often, like, because we say they're teaching life and work skills. So it's an earn as you learn model. So each young person in our program is receiving a stipend for their participation. So throughout the whole program, they're interviewed, and then based on the interview, we decide whether or not they're a good fit. And then there's high standards. So there's an accountability that you're going to show up on time, that when you're there, you're going to participate and be part of the team. And so a lot of the young people, it's the men mainly are between 13 and 15 years old, although we accept kids up to the age of 18. But it's the first time that they really are in an environment that is closely modeled to what it would be in the workplace. And because it's the earn as you learn model, they feel a lot more accountability to it and see it as a job. So we're trying to introduce them to those different opportunities and entrepreneurship. So I actually didn't know Vinny DePaul, who owns Gangster Vegan, and I just had read articles about how he started his business, and so I reached out to him and told him what we were doing, and he was super excited. So we actually met at his restaurant in Phoenixville, which is no longer there, unfortunately.
Oh.
But we had a great conversation. He was super excited, and he's doing a lot of work in the Norristown area, and I think right now, like up and down the East Coast, in terms of food security and making sure it's healthy and nutritious and a lot of raw food. But he was super excited to come out to Pottstown and meet the kids here and check out what we were doing and share some of the food that he was making. So for the last 4 years, he's come out at least once a summer, often twice. He usually likes to come out in the beginning and the end of the summer just to see what we have accomplished and hear how the kids are doing and check out the garden. So he was actually a part of the summer program this year, which we had to limit our time in person. So the young people were normally together 4 days a week from 8 until 3 p.m. Because of COVID, we had to knock that back to 2 days. So Monday and Wednesday, we were at Rolling Hills in the morning, and then Tuesday and Thursday, we were in Pottstown in the morning, and then Monday through Thursday in the afternoon. All of the cohorts joined together virtually, and so got to be together, and then we would have special guests who came in. So Vinny was one of the special guests during those virtual sessions, and he did a cooking workshop. We also were... last year, we partnered with Ryan Wallace at Bare Hand Love Cuisine, and Pottstown's professional football player that we all like to talk about. And, Goo. And he actually last summer was working with us because normally we provide breakfast and lunch, and we try to use things from our garden. We try to use things that are super healthy and model what we're sort of trying to do in terms of farm to table.
I think vegetables are underrated at breakfast. There should be more vegetables at breakfast.
Yeah. So so Ryan Wallace partnered with us last year, and he was preparing a lot of our breakfasts and all of our lunches last year. So then he came on virtually this year. The kids were glad to see him because they had developed a friendship with him last year, and he did a cooking workshop as well. We tried to bring in small business owners from the Pottstown area. We've had Pam from Blue Zen on.
We love Pam.
Yeah, last year she was super helpful in terms of she did a handful of yoga workshops for us, probably like once a week. Mm-hmm. And then Russell Stinson at Sweat Chasers, he's done some exercising with us. And so we try to bring in this sort of holistic approach to health.
Yeah, a really broad program.
Yeah.
It touches on a lot of different areas. How are the kids selected, young people? How are the young people selected to be in the program? Do they self-identify? Do you work with the schools to identify kids that you think might benefit?
Yeah, so Initially, we really had to get out there and sort of pound the pavement and connect with different youth organizations, people in the school district, and then slowly it's become a thing of word of mouth. So we have a lot of young people who want to return year after year.
Right.
And that was sort of our idea for the spring program, was to sort of foster more leadership and peer facilitation. We would bring young people back and give them more of a leadership role. And we're still building that piece out. So now it's become a lot of word of mouth. So young people telling other young people, or it's just sort of, now we don't have to actually do as much active recruiting for the Pottstown location.
As word gets out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And how many kids total are in between all of the different farms and cohorts and programs? How many kids?
There's four different gardens and cohorts. I forgot to mention we have one in Phoenixville at Fairview Village, which is Chester County Housing Authority community. And so between those four locations this year, it was a little bit different. We had 38 young people. Mm-hmm. Typically, each of those cohorts would have about 15 to 20 young people. So we had to cap it this year at 10 per cohort, just to maintain social distancing and to ensure that all the safety protocol that we were implementing was adhered to.
Well, from all of the pictures that you posted over the summer, it looked like you were doing a very good job of social distancing and masking, because
trying our best.
Yes, for sure. I saw
it's hot.
We're out there in the garden, and they were masked up and they were spaced out, and it just looked like you were very cautious and safe.
Yeah,
and,
we actually had to have an area of the garden that was set off from everyone, and we're like, if you need to go over and literally take a breathing break, that's where you need to go.
Right. Well, it's hot out there in the masks, right?
No, I had that problem. I had that problem at the garden when I was working at the garden.
Right.
The mask would get too hot. Now, a lot of times I was in the garden, I was the only one in there with Chris Gold, so we weren't wearing masks.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but if somebody else showed up, then you have to. Right.
Then we put the mask on,
Right.
and we work around each other and whatever else.
Right.
You talked a lot about the program. I think people
Sure.
got a lot of concept about what's going on. People want you to talk about Vinny and Rashul.
Russell.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to talk about Vinny?
You talked about Vinny.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about Rashul? Trellis For Tomorrow is reminding you that they joined the team for Tempest Conference in January.
Okay.
Talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
And then the next thing you got to do is you're here to get money.
Right.
You got to get that paper, man.
Okay.
So start talking about fundraising.
All right. Where do you want me to start after that long list, Matt?
Rashul.
Okay, so Russell Stinson is a Pottstown local. You'll probably seen him at the alley. He's at the front door there a lot. Mm-hmm. But he also
Julia's dad.
Yes.
yeah, but Julia's dad works at the alley as well. But he has a personal training business in Pottstown. He does a lot of calisthenic circuit training. I train with him. Leah, Julia's sister, trains with him. Rachel, Leah's mom, trains, and Julia's mom trains with him. And he has helped all of us get fit. Rachel especially has been super successful in losing a ton of weight and looks absolutely fabulous. But I think his gym is the outdoors. I love being outdoors, hence being in the garden all the time. But he is, I give him thumbs up, the best trainer in Pottstown. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I've seen success, and he pushes you to the max.
What is his, does he have a site or something that if people wanted to check him out as a trainer?
Facebook, it's Sweat Chasers. You'll find him. But he's also super interested in community and mentoring young people. His story, he had sort of a rough childhood and youth and upbringing and youth experience, and so he's committed to sort of having young people learn from his experiences and choose a better path for themselves. He's also very much a proponent for entrepreneurship and sort of building your own thing and believing in yourself. And then, what else did you want me to talk about, Matt? The fun?
Hit the money.
Okay, hit the money. So we are really, as you partnered with a lot of community entities, and Trellis is all about partnership and collaboration. And we are really super fortunate to partner with Matt. Matt and I are good friends. He actually helped me buy a house in town and was super helpful. And so last year, him and Glocker Realty were sponsors of the summer program in 2019. And so I hit him up again this year because that's what I do. And Matt was super excited about what we're doing and always a big proponent of our work. And so he agreed to have us on the show, but also to partner with Glocker and have a matching campaign. So Glocker has committed to donating $250,
Nice.
and they're hoping to raise another $250 by the end of this week. So you got today and tomorrow. So
All right, Porchstonians.
open your wallets,
step
open your
up.
checkbooks. You can send them to Glocker Realty, and Matt will make sure that Trellis gets them. And then to amplify your giving a little bit more, the Amazing Raise with Tri-County Community Network is happening.
That's last day of that is tomorrow.
It's
the 30th. Yeah,
30th.
it's the final
okay.
day tomorrow.
So you also have one more day for that, and if you make a donation to an organization like Trellis or any other organization partnering in the Amazing Raise up until tomorrow, your donation will be boosted by funds through Tri-County Community Network and the Amazing Raise.
Right. So there's
So
two ways.
give today.
Yes.
Right, Julia? Give today.
So what's the what is the time frame for the Glocker match?
Well, we're trying to get as much money in as we can
Okay.
by the end of October.
Right.
But we'll continue to take the money because their giving period goes till December, right? Goes to the end of the year.
I think it was extended this year.
Right. So you've got your Season of
Yes.
Solidarity program. Not to throw too much at people, but so
Right.
right now
Yes,
they can
Right now, we're really trying
Right.
to hit that 500.
send a check to Glocker,
Realty.
make it out to Trellis for Tomorrow,
That's right.
send it to Matt at Glocker. We'll put the information up if you haven't already.
There's a post already
Okay.
on the Facebook page, Macarena Glocker Real
Yep.
Estate.
Cool.
There's multiple posts on Glocker Realty Insurance. We've been doing a post almost every day.
Right, and if you're too lazy to search around, just message Matt or myself, and we'll get you the
Yeah.
information. Yes,
So-
or you can go to Amazing Raise
Yes.
and make a donation to Trellis that way. And then tell us about the Season of Solidarity, because you've got some interesting. I don't know if I brought my printout. You've got some interesting kind of bonus gifts,
Yeah.
if you will, for the season of for different sponsorship levels for the Season of Solidarity.
Correct. So the Season of Solidarity is our annual giving campaign, and we've sort of restructured it this year and included some really nice perks for different donation levels. So you can check out our website, Trellis, the number 4tomorrow.org, and look for Season of Solidarity on there. But some of the various perks based on your giving are different recipe cards. We've had some of the young people design little borders for them,
Oh,
so you
cool.
can see some of their artwork. You can see some pictures that are printed on the cards and quotes from that are applicable to the work that we're doing. And then we also worked with a group of young people to make and can some spaghetti sauce. So there's actually one level or several levels that you get a meal kit, and so a lot of our partners with Kimberton Whole Foods, some of the other farms that we partner with, and then some of the young people that we are working with, all sort of put their hands and their labor together to make those meal kits possible. So you'll
Great. So you
get a jar of homemade sauce.
that were the fruits of your labor, literally.
Yes.
Excellent. So that information can be found on your website, trellis4tomorrow.org.
Right.
And
And then-
it's in the comments.
And it's in the comments. Thank
And then
you.
I posted links to both their Facebook page and their website on Macarena Glocker Real Estate.
Yeah, getting lots of love here from folks.
And then there's some other things. We're doing some garden marker stones, so like the little pebbles that you see all over different communities. We're doing things like that, but making little garden sets, so they'll be painted like different vegetables, and just some fun little creative things like that thrown in there for the season of solidarity.
Right. So the sponsorship levels go from $100, I think, is the first level at which you get a little gift with purchase, if you will.
Yeah,
All the way up to $1,000.
correct.
I'm sure if somebody wanted to give you $10,000,
Oh, yeah.
that would be more than
Certainly.
welcome.
It will make my job easier.
Hannah, do you have a background in agriculture or gardening, or how did you come into this area?
I do somewhat. For many years I did interior landscaping.
Okay.
So mostly like tropical plants and things like that. If I look back in my family history, my ancestors moved here from Switzerland, and they were all in the agricultural and farming field. So I guess it was sort of in my blood. So as a child, I would garden with my grandparents and had fond memories of doing that. But I wouldn't say that I'm a farmer expert or anything like that. A lot more of my area of expertise is in nonprofit management and youth development, and those are most of the areas that I worked with many years ago. In sort of the infancy of the Mosaic Community Land Trusts, I was involved closely with Sue Repko and the Jacksons in terms of
I think
getting
that's
that
when
up
I
and
first met
started.
you back then, when you were involved with that.
Yeah.
So Trellis was really a way for you to combine your nonprofit and youth development background with a love of gardening and being outside
Correct.
and being in the
Yeah.
dirt. It's rare for somebody to find, right, that perfect matchup.
Yep. Yeah.
Excellent. So what do you see for the future? Are you going to keep kind of rolling along with the programs that you have? Are you looking to expand things beyond the area?
We are looking to expand. Right now, we're concentrating on the Montgomery County and Chester County areas. And in the last 4 years, we have doubled in size in terms of the UC Enterprise team. And so we are
That's
looking
pretty
to do that
significant.
in the future.
Yeah.
And this coming summer 2021, we have already secured space again at the 700 block of Walnut with the advocacy of Twyla. And then we are also working with Daniel at Mosaic Community Land Trust, and we're going to probably have a number of plots there as well. So
Right.
we're hoping to have a higher production in this area and getting more organic food out into the community here. And then we'll continue our partnership with Rolling Hills. We're thinking about installing a couple more rows of beds there for next spring, and then we're also exploring possibilities of putting in some fruit trees and bushes there, so we have that as well.
Wow. And what about you, Julia? You're going to be in the program for a few more years? Yeah, and I mentioned that the age range was typically 13 to 15. And
13,
Yes.
Yeah.
13 to 18, but a lot of the younger end.
Right.
Yeah. I will probably be on here for a couple more years. Yeah. Yep.
Great. You'll be a seasoned professional by the time another couple of years goes by. You can be one of the leaders.
It would
right?
be nice.
Yeah. Maybe even manage your
Julia
own-
would be
have
good
your
at that.
own- Yeah, have your own property to manage. Right?
We'll have another garden. Maybe Julia can be the manager there.
Right.
So when the time comes for signing up for a CSA for the spring, we'll share that information, because I definitely want to get on board with that. Not that I didn't enjoy getting all of the fruits of my friends' labors. Matt gave me a lot of stuff, and Amy's given me a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I think you said you had some eggplants yet?
I'm gonna have to check on them. They
Okay.
might be too wilted now.
Yeah.
I'll check.
Yeah, the
on
cold.
All right. I look forward to those eggplants. That's okay.
them. Just getting a lot of support. I mean, there's a lot of people that
Lots
say
of love.
They're gonna start at supporting your program. They're gonna
Cool.
send donations.
Nice.
Yes.
Please
Great.
send your donations. If you want to make the donation and help us through Glocker, please send the donation up or come up to the corner of 73 and 100 in Boyertown. and drop it off 9 to 5.
Yes, and do check out the Trellis for Tomorrow Facebook page to see some really great pictures of the program
there's a
from
lot
over
of
the
nice
summer.
pictures on there.
Yeah.
It's a great way to sort of track our adventures because we do a lot in a little bit of time.
That's true.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the growing season is short. The main part of the growing season is only a couple of months. If you think about it out of a 12-year or a 12-month cycle, you know?
well, but yeah, I mean, you start in
Yes,
April
March.
with seedlings, right? And go through, are you just about finished harvesting stuff at this point?
Yeah, last week was our final delivery in Pottstown. Yesterday we were over at Rolling Hills and pulled all of our tomatoes, red and green, and left a bunch at Rolling Hills, and then just on the way here today I dropped off a bunch at the Ricketts Center. So during the pandemic we've been, because we haven't been able to get out in the neighborhood as much as we want to and make home deliveries. This year we only had 13 households that we were delivering to, and that was really based on the fact that we had a list from last year, and so we went back to the households that we had partnered with last year, and a lot of them had moved or the numbers were no longer working.
Right.
But all the excess we've been distributing in the Rolling Hills community to the households that participate in our weekly subscription program, and then also at the Ricketts Center we've been dropping off excess, and then we shared a lot with the Tri-County Area Senior Center, and then with just neighbors and friends in the community who were willing to share it through
Right.
their churches, who were willing to drive down to Bright Hope and hand out things there, or just had neighbors and friends that could use it or would enjoy having
Right.
fresh organic vegetables.
Right, because the Ricketts Center has also been doing food distribution.
Yes. So it actually worked out really well because our harvest day at the 700 Walnut Street Garden was on Thursday, and their distribution is on Friday.
Right.
So we would go up there on Thursday afternoon, drop stuff off, and
Right.
then they'd have that option
Distribute it
on
the next
Fridays.
day. Right.
Yeah.
So then, now that you're done harvesting, is there like a to prepare the ground, or do you have to clean things up? Do you have to like pull out whatever's left over? What happens now, Julia?
We do pull out the vegetables and whatnot. Yes. we
Right. So there's like roots and
Yeah.
bits,
Yes,
plants
yes.
that aren't producing anything anymore. So you have to pull
Yeah.
all those out.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Turn it over. Till things.
Compost.
Yeah.
Compost.
Yeah, so we're going to be having some garden cleanup days and pulling out everything, and then we have compost that we put down on the beds, and that's how we'll winterize them, and then next spring they'll be enriched and ready to go.
Where does the compost come from?
We work with a local supplier who is aligned with some of our organic standards,
Okay.
and so they provide an organic compost for us that then we
Sure,
use on
because you
that.
have to be
Yeah.
careful of what's in
Yep,
the compost,
yes,
right? I
yes.
didn't even think about that. So, excellent, very good stuff. Any final push that you want to let us know about before I get to the news here?
Make your donation today. Support Trellis.
Get the paper.
And thanks to Glocker and all the other partners in the community, businesses, other organizations, and especially the young people who are so dedicated to what we're doing and inspire me every day too.
It's really such a great program. I've said this several times over the last month that I really enjoyed following your page over the summer and watching the pictures and seeing what you guys were doing, and just really impressed with the scope of the size of the gardens and the scope of the amount of stuff that you were putting out. Now that I know that it's 25 pounds a week. Wow.
Well, between our 4 Youth Seed Enterprise sites, it's upward of 7,000 pounds, and I mean, we still have some numbers coming in from those sites.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right, I'm going to fire through some news here. Taking my glasses off, but I got to put them right back on
Be the
again.
top fan that you
Well,
are.
yeah, we do. Julia and
Julia's
Leah's
dad
dad,
is here.
Will Smith,
Thanks for stopping by.
and
You
not to
haven't given us a
get
drive-by in
jiggy with
quite
it,
some
Will
time,
Smith.
All right. What do we got here? Our friend Joe Cerisi is having a meet and greet at the Alley. I didn't write down the date. That's on Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Sunday from 12 to 1. So that's at the Alley, a meet and greet with our friend Joe Cerisi. If you live in the 146th, you are going to want to vote for him. And if you want to meet him and talk to him about what you're concerned about in your area, then he's a real straightforward guy, real honest, and a real proponent for Pottstown, especially for our schools. So that's at the Alley on Sunday from 12 to 1. Art Fusion is giving away free art kits. There are 3 projects in each kit. It is recommended for ages 8 and up. You can stop by Art Fusion at 341 Beach Street or give them a call, 610-326-2506. They are easy to find online, artfusion19464.org, or their Facebook page. The library is temporarily closed, but I did see some interesting programs that they have. This large stack of news that I have. Let's see if I can find it. So they are doing a happy hour book club, which begins tonight, Thursday at 7 o'clock on Zoom. I don't know the regularity with which that book club will meet, but if you go to the library, I found this actually on Saratoga Post, but this is happy hour book club for adults starting tonight at 7 o'clock. And then they're having an adult cookbook club that will meet once a month. So I'm sure you can go to the library's website or Facebook page and find out more information about that. So they still have a lot of things going on, even though they are closed to the public right now, just due to cautionary measures. But they do still have books that you can get, audiobooks and books online, etc. We all know there's an election coming up, so we want to remind everyone to vote, just in case you were not aware that there's an election
If you were
coming
out
up.
on the loop.
Just in case you just woke up.
Yeah, just in case you were Rip Van Winkle and you've been asleep for the last 6 months and you didn't get 400 text messages today alone and phone calls and pieces of mail, make sure that you vote for our friends Joe Cerisi, and Paul Friel is in the 26th. So Paul is trying to unseat the incumbent, and he's a friend of the show, and we interviewed him a couple weeks ago. Real good guy. He's eager to get in there and make some changes.
Has become a regular watcher.
A regular watcher, yeah. Getting busy, Paul. All right. Saturday, which is Halloween, 10 to 3 at the Alley. There is a Halloween and fall craft show, so check that out. Go get some gifts. Start thinking about the holidays. Maybe grab a little adult beverage to fuel your shopping. So that is on Saturday from 10 to 3. Sunday, 1 o'clock at the Montgomery County Courthouse, Rally Against Racism. Some kind of not great stuff happening in Philly right now. So this area is tragically aware of some more racist incidents. So this is the Movement for Black and Brown Lives of Montgomery County, Rally Against Racism. That is at the courthouse on Sunday at 1 o'clock. All right, I'm going to save that one for later. Voting, just in case you forgot that there's an election coming up. If you need a ride to the polls,
Yes.
or if you know somebody that might need a ride to the polls on Election Day, Bethel Community Church is offering rides on Election Day. Their number is 610-326-1700. They are good folks over there at Bethel Community Church, and they are offering to drive people to the polls on Election Day.
Let me see that.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Mail-in ballot update. If you applied for your ballot more than 6 days ago and you have not received it yet, you can do one of several things. You can have your ballot reissued, and this is a bit.ly link. I don't know about that right now at this point. It's only 4 days away. Or you can go to the Office of Voter Services, which is 425 Swede Street in Norristown, to have your ballot reissued. That might be better to go in person if you requested your mail-in ballot and you've not received it yet. or you can vote at your polling place on election day using a provisional ballot. I don't know too much about that, Matt. Do you know about provisional ballots?
Yes, I do. I know a little bit. Hold on. Let me
All right, so my best bet for you is if you,
I'm just going to grab this.
Go ahead.
go ahead, Matt.
All right. So here's what I know about provisional ballots. This is kind of important.
Yes.
If you didn't get your mail-in ballot, one of the things that you can do, and you're running out of time, but you can do this. One of the ways that you can vote if you did not get your mail-in ballot is to go down to voter services in Norristown.
That's at 425 Swede Street.
At Swede Street, right? You cancel your mail-in ballot, and then you can vote in person there.
Right there.
Right there.
Right.
The way the provisional ballot works is if you didn't have your ballot, if there's something wrong, when you go to your polling place, you have to talk to the judge of elections. Every polling place has a judge of elections.
Right.
Explain to that person what the problem that you're having is.
Right. So I applied for my mail-in ballot, but I have not received it yet.
Or I got my mail-in ballot, but now I decided that I'm going to vote in person. If that's the case, take the mail-in ballot with all of the pieces with you to the polling place.
Right.
Ask for the judge of elections and explain to that person what your problem or your question is. They will be able to help you.
Right.
From my understanding, you then request request a provisional ballot if they can't get you onto the voting machine at the polling place. Does that make sense?
Yep.
The
So
provisional ballot is the absolute last
that's
resort.
the last resort situation.
There might be another way to get you onto the machine, but you have to talk to the judge of elections
Right.
at your polling
Right.
place.
So
but
if that's the case right now, it's Thursday. You have tomorrow and Monday. So call. If you're panicked because you requested your mail-in ballot, it hasn't arrived yet.
Right.
You're panicking, call voter services. Go to PA Voter Services or go to montcopa.org. There's links all over the place.
There
It's
is.
super easy to find, or whatever your county you live in. And find the voter services and call them. They're going to have a lot of people on the phones right now answering these questions.
Yeah,
So-
and I know that there was some backup, and for a while, I don't remember which one. They either weren't taking emails or they weren't taking phone calls,
Okay.
but they were taking. Just like Amy said, in order to find out the voter services in the county that you live in, because I know there's somebody watching the show right now saying, man, I don't live in Montgomery County.
Right.
Go onto Google or your search engine, whatever you use, and type in the name of your county, Berks County Voter Services, Montgomery County Voter Services,
Pretty
Chester
easy
County
to
Voter
find.
Services.
Yes.
It'll take you right there.
Yep.
On the Montgomery County page, there's a fax, frequently asked questions.
Mm-hmm.
You can scroll through that. There's a number, there's an email.
Right. So don't ask your buddy at work or,
I see
or your
so
drunk
much
uncle.
crap floating
What my
around
uncle
on Facebook
said that
right now.
no, just go straight to voter services.
Straight
and
to the
The
source.
information is going to be there. There is no reason you should be confused about what you should do if you don't have your ballot.
Since we started talking about voting, I've gone onto that voter service website at least a dozen times.
So easy to navigate,
It's
right?
super easy to navigate. Your questions answered right there. There's no reason to go and post in some group. Well, what do I do?
Right.
You're going to get 20 different answers.
Go
I've seen
straight
it
to the
happen.
source.
I
Yes.
tried to help people, and I knew the information that I was giving was right, but everybody argued with me, so I just deleted everything.
Right. Right.
And the only thing I've been just talking about now is go to voter services and get your questions answered.
yeah, and
It's
that's
super
really
easy.
only if you requested a mail-in ballot and you didn't get it. I did not request a mail-in ballot. I
Right.
decided that I wanted to go vote in person,
Right.
and because our polling place is never really crowded.
The provisional ballot can also help you in a situation where your name, for some reason, might not appear on the voter rolls, because I've heard people that's happened in other areas.
Okay.
People's names are missing from the voter
right,
roll,
so maybe you registered for the first time
or
this year.
and you go to your polling place and your name's not there for whatever reason.
Right.
That provisional ballot is the solution for a lot of different problems, but you have to explain what problem you're having to the person at the polls.
Right.
If you just walk away and don't do anything, no one's going to help you unless you
Right.
tell them what the problem is.
Yeah. But figure it out. It's Thursday. The election's on Tuesday. It's not like a big surprise.
No.
We've known it's coming for.
It's coming.
Yes.
We've known it's coming. This is the general election. It comes every 4 years.
Every
just,
4
just
years
in case
on
you
the
were
first
unaware.
Tuesday of November. It's not like, it's not like Hanukkah. It's a moving target
Same.
every year. It's the first Tuesday of November.
Right.
So I don't want to hear any excuses, folks. Cracking some skulls.
So just vote.
Just vote. And Tuesday's show,
If you haven't already,
we're going to...
Tuesday.
Matt and I are going to be ripping the lid off on Tuesday, I'm sure. Right,
Yes.
Matt? All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for having us,
thank
Amy
you.
and Matt, and thank you to Glocker Realty for supporting Trellis in this way and for all your efforts here at promoting local organizations. Just listening to you
Thank
with the
you.
announcement, there's so many great things happening.
There
in
really
Potsdam.
are. There
Great
really are.
people, great organizations, and
Yes.
it's an inspiration and a lot of positivity coming off of the Porchcast.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And, I have to give the drill, Matt. I am Amy Wolf of Wolf Baldwin and Associates,
That's
bringing
right.
you fine legal representation in Pottstown and the surrounding area since 1973. Matt is Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. He is your real estate expert in Pottstown and the surrounding area. Call him if you want to buy or sell. He can get you literally tens of thousands of dollars more than the guy on the sign.
That's right.
He does a great job. I have my perfect house. Thanks
Trellis
to
for
Matt.
Tomorrow is on the screen. It is Trellis, the number 4, tomorrow.org. Check it out, donate, and don't forget to vote. Get your act together. Make sure that your vote counts. Let's talk. We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.
Good night.